The following presentation is a YouTube production.
Hey, good morning. Good morning. Hey, good morning. It's Uncle Lou here. Hey, good morning. Live for you on YouTube today. Hey, good morning. It's Uncle Lou here. Hey, good morning. It's Uncle Lou here. Yeah, that's right. It's me, Uncle Lou. Live for you on YouTube today. Yeah, thanks for watching. Of your games, so talking about we didn't need you, we didn't want you. I stood up for you. Now you, oh Uncle Lou, look at this vein in my neck, sir. Mark Fox, pack your stuff, get out of Apple. That's it. It's not working out. 9 years is long enough. This so-called experiment, whatever it is, you got these people in Athens tricked into thinking you're a good basketball coach. No, that's it. I've had it. Everybody else has had it. It's time for you to pack your stuff and go, sir. This is getting absolutely ridiculous now. Ridiculous. What are we? We're 1-6 in the last 7 games. We've won 1 game since January 20th. Congratulations. A miracle win over Florida. Whee! Oh my God! Hey, Maltard! Spend another off season talking about that Hail Mary! Whee! Woo! How about him dogs, son? Hey, listen, just like Uncle Lou told you, Georgia too much for the Florida Gators this year. You guys just don't have the Jimmies, or the Joes to keep up with my Georgia Bulldogs. Good morning, you're on with Uncle Lou.
I got a question. Now, you said Jake Fromm, Jarrett Stidham is the best quarterback in the country. He's winning the Heisman next year. All right?
Yeah, I heard this last off season too, but go ahead.
Auburn is going 15-0 next year, Lou. And Georgia's going like 8-4. Ben, you are so stupid sometimes. You're so ego. You're such a big ego, Lou. You know?
No, I don't know.
Shut your mouth. Sometimes,
explain it to me.
Sometimes you need to let it. I'll explain it to you, Lou. Your head looks like a watermelon. I'm 40! I'm a man! I'm 40! I'm a man!
Man, listen. When you call up and say, I'm about to roast you, are you ready? You need to be ready, sir. You've had since last Thursday to prepare to call into this show, and this is the best you can do. This is the best you can do. All right, I'm gonna roast you, Lou. You ready? And I hear you, and I can hear you rustling your papers and shit, where you got all your shit written down. You got everything wrote down. You're rustling all your papers. Are you ready, Lou? Are you ready? I'm fixing to roast you, Lou. Are you ready? And then you can hear you rumpling your papers, and you're like, Lou, you have a watermelon head. Hold on a second. Lou, you have a watermelon head. Hold on a second. No, I'm not holding on a second, sir. You've had since last Thursday to figure out what you wanted to say when you called up today, and the best thing you can think of to do is to call up and stutter and drool all over yourself by saying the same watermelon head joke 2 times in a row, rustling around a bunch of papers, and then saying, oh, wait a minute, wait, hold on, wait, Lou. Oh, no, Lou, hold on, no, wait, Lou, while I say this same joke again. Now, are you ready now?
I'm ready now. Are you going to listen to me?
Go.
You look like a freaking watermelon.
That's the same joke. That's the 3rd time now we've heard the same one. Do you have something new, or is it going to be the same watermelon joke again?
Call Lou to be on the show. 706-510-6817. That's 706-510-6817. And now, here is your host, Uncle Lou.
It's Uncle Lou here. Yeah, that's right. It's me, Uncle Lou, live for you on LouTube today. Whee! Thanks for watching. I really appreciate it. Also, in addition to that, as well, welcome to Uncle Lou Live. I think this is episode 17 today, which is amazing. I can't believe we made it past the first episode, to be honest, but we did. So, yeah, Uncle Lou Live. We do this every Monday and Wednesday at 3 o'clock Eastern. We have guests from all the other different college teams around, talk college football, college basketball, college sports in general, whatever happens to be going on. Today on the show, we have a Florida fan. I'm going to bring him on in just a minute. We're going to talk about Florida's recruiting class and 2018 expectations, what he thinks might be in store for the Florida Gators in 2018. Then we're going to spend a few minutes on the Final Four. I told you guys the other day I would make some official Final Four predictions. I'll do that for you today. And then, of course, your phone calls, which is the highlight of the show. Yeah, everyone's favorite part, which is great. Anyway, thanks to everybody that's watching live in the comment section. I see you all there. I'm not gonna take the time to shout you all out right now. We'll do that later. We're gonna go ahead and get right to this first caller. Like I mentioned, he is a Florida fan, and he's gonna tell us everything we ever wanted to know about the Florida Gators. So without any further ado, or I don't know, maybe just a little bit more ado, we're gonna get to the caller. Never made it as a wise man. Good morning. You're on with Uncle Lou.
Hey, Uncle Lou, what's going on, man?
Not a whole lot. Go ahead and just introduce yourself real quick. Tell these people who you are. You can tell them whatever you want, whatever name, or if you have a YouTube screen name they know you by, or if you want to just use your name, whatever. Just tell them who you are, and tell them you're a Florida fan, because they don't believe anything I say.
Well, okay, well, my name is Damon, and no, I do not have like a YouTube screen name or anything like that. I don't do that kind of YouTube kind of stuff. But I'm a huge Florida Gator fan since 1989. You know, back the good old head ball coaches here at Florida.
Yeah.
So.
Y'all are missing him right now with the offense y'all have had the last few years, but we'll get into some of that here in a little bit. Now, before we jump to what's going on with Florida right now, just real quick, give me your final thoughts on the 2017 season. I'm assuming you're happy to see McElwain gone. But just take a minute or so, walk us through the 2017 season. At what point did you realize it was over for McElwain? At what point did you want him gone? At what point did you know the season was a complete loss? Just sort of walk us through the mindset of a Florida fan in 2017.
Well, you know, he's even more worse than Will Muschamp and than Ron Zook. And I think the biggest screw up he did in his first year at Florida in 2015, where he let the best quarterback, Will Gear, go and let him be transferred to West Virginia instead of like talk him out by staying at Florida, still be part of the team, and let him get his starting back at quarterback after his 1 year suspension, and that was the biggest screw up right there. And but now in the 2017 season, like last year, you know, if another biggest one of all was you know, all those 9 players who think they can get away with the credit card fraud. You know, it's what a stupid thing that these guys did. But I hope they learned their lesson on that one.
Yeah, they got lucky. I mean, most of them avoided serious charges through the first-time offenders program. And look, just because I hate Florida, you know, it doesn't mean I'm a complete ass or whatever. But
you know,
I'm all for that. I'm all for second chances, whether you're a college football player or not.
You know,
I'm all for second chances with the first-time offenders program and that sort of thing. Yep.
You know, I agree with you on that one there, because you know, you got to forgive them of what they did.
Right.
You know, and but for the players who got suspended from the credit card fraud, have somehow is rejoining the team, and I hope they learned their lesson from their mistake, and making sure that never happens again.
Yeah, I'd be surprised if they go down that road again. So okay, so tell us, so the season goes haywire, 11 players suspended, you win the East 2 years in a row, but then you come out last year and have just a miserable season. I mean, losing to Missouri, South Carolina, getting blown out by Georgia, losing again to in-state rival Florida State. And I'm not bringing all this up as a trash talk thing, but it's unusual. It was unusual from the outside looking in. It seemed unusual to fire a coach who had won his division 2 years in a row just because of one bad season. Now, a lot of people thought, and there was speculation, that there was a lot more going on with McElwain.
Oh yeah,
there was. So what can you tell us about that? Do you believe that with the death threats? Do you think he was just unhappy there? Do you think he wanted out? What do you think was going on there behind the scenes?
I don't know what kind of bull crap he was pulling about being the doing all this death threats thing. But when you first hear that report that he never made it as a wise man by these whoever was making the death threats to his family or to the coaches or to his team, but then all of a sudden he's saying, "Oh no, we're good. We don't need a report or anything about the authorities." And we're like, okay, it's like a really scratching the head, and that's really causing him to lose his head coaching job.
Right.
So I mean, it was.
So you get either way. I don't know. I kind of feel like it was probably a little bit of both. I mean, it's not like you just didn't win the East. I mean, the wheels completely fell off with the suspensions, only winning 4 games, losing to the in-state rival again. So I think it was probably a little bit of both. Under normal circumstances, I'm not so sure a coach would be fired after winning the division 2 years in a row just for one bad season. But that was more really than just a bad season. A lot sort of went wrong. So you bring Dan Mullen in, which, if I'm not mistaken, he's a Florida man. He's a Florida man, Lou.
He was an offensive coordinator at the time when Urban Meyer was the head coach at Florida, and he was with Urban Meyer from 05 to 08. Went to 2 national championships with the Gators, and my thought about Dan Mullen.
He's a Florida man, Lou.
I'm glad he's back in the Sunshine State. I mean, he knows the recruiting over there, and he knows the history about the fun and gun, the offense and everything, and I think he's going to do great in his first year.
Yeah,
he's going to do great.
If there's 2 things I constantly hear about Dan Mullen from Florida fans, it's number 1, he's a quarterback guru, and number 2, he's a Florida man, Lou.
And he's going to be dealing with these players that are coming back from that embarrassing 4-7 and turning them into a much more better team.
Right.
Yeah, for this season, next season. Now, as far as the quarterback goes, he's not going to hesitate to find a quarterback like during the season. He's going to find a quarterback before the season starts. He was like that when he was at head coach at Mississippi State. When he found out that Prescott was his man, being the quarterback from Mississippi State, he just letting him being the starting quarterback throughout that season.
Right.
It was the same way when he was offensive coordinator coach at Florida with Chris League, then Tim Tebow, and then that was it.
Yeah.
And then the offense has been struggling ever since Tim Tebow left. But I doubt that he's going to turn Felipe Frank, Trask, and Tony, all these other quarterbacks. He's going to turn them into a much more better quarterback than I'm not going to mention that former offensive coordinator's name who was making all these dumb calls. But I'm glad he's gone for good. Now being a coach at the Dallas Cowboys.
Right. Well, I've got the 2018 schedule pulled up on the screen for folks to see.
That's right. I got it right here too.
Okay, let's go through this a little bit now. Week 1, Charleston Southern. Of course, last year you started off with Michigan, so a big marquee game to start the season off. Last year, I'm not knocking Florida or anyone else for scheduling Charleston Southern. I mean, these are the kinds of things that happens. Most teams tend to play good teams, every once in a while, week 1, and then a cupcake week 1. Georgia's doing something similar. So I'm not knocking you on who you're playing here. And actually, in the situation that Florida's in right now with a new coach, he's got coaching experience, so he's not new in that regard, but he's new at Florida. The players are learning his system, his style, his terminology, that kind of thing. And there are some question marks on Florida's team, especially at the quarterback position. So I think normally I would just skip over this game and go right to week 2 in a preview, but I think it's worth talking about just for a little bit here. I think this comes at a good time for Florida to play this Charleston Southern game week 1. It's a guaranteed win no matter how you slice it up, but I think this will give the coaching staff an opportunity to maybe let a couple of different guys play at a couple of different positions. Quarterback obviously is one that's sort of up in the air at Florida. I'm sure there are some other positions too at Florida that are sort of 50-50 on who might be a starter type thing. This is almost like a glorified scrimmage to start the year out, and I think this comes at a good time with Florida. I have a feeling you'll probably see multiple quarterbacks playing this game against Charleston Southern. Yes, I know it's Charleston Southern, but still you can tell a lot more about what you have in a player versus a Charleston Southern than you could in 100 practices, in my opinion. You can't replicate a game environment at practice. I'm a firm believer in that, no matter how hard you try. So I think this comes at a good time for Florida. What do you think, not necessarily about playing Charleston Southern? Obviously, everybody's going to pick Florida to win this game. But do you think multiple quarterbacks will play? Is there one that is your favorite heading into the offseason that you think will get the start? Just give us your thoughts on who you think is going to play quarterback and what you think will happen there week 1 against Charleston Southern.
Well, like I said before, Dan Mullen, he doesn't hesitate to choose a quarterback, in the beginning of the season. He just find the right quarterback, after the spring football games.
Dan Mullen, you said? You said Dan Mullen?
Dan Mullen.
He's a Florida man, Lou.
He's not going to hesitate on week 1 to find doing like a rotating quarterback. So, and my firm belief is will be Felipe Frank. I mean, he is a great quarterback. He's a true leader for the team. He didn't get himself in trouble. He comes to practice every day. I mean, I think last week or a couple of weeks ago, he's been the team voted him as a team leader for this season. So so Dan Mullen is going to make him a much more better quarterback for this season. So it will probably be Felipe Frank. But excuse me. Sorry.
I mean, do you think I can't imagine him redshirting Emory Jones. I'm of the opinion that Emory Jones is probably the most talented quarterback on your roster. Of course, it's always a risk to play a true freshman quarterback.
Well, that's true.
But, I think if he has a good spring, and he's enrolled early, I believe, so we'll see him at the spring game for Florida. So he gets this month of practice, which is a huge benefit for a freshman.
Yeah.
And then he'll get the summer workouts and fall camp. I'd be surprised if he didn't play some week 1 against Charleston Southern. I can tell you, and again, this isn't trash talk, this is just honest opinion here, as a Georgia fan, and I'm pretty sure that fans of every other SEC East team are going to feel the same way I feel. I also hope that Felipe Franks is y'all's quarterback, because to me that would mean that I don't think Felipe Franks is that good. I do think Dan Mullen will make people better. I do think he coaches up quarterbacks well. I'm not sure how much he can do with Felipe Franks. I think the best case scenario for Florida in terms of having any chance to win the East this year is that Emory Jones gets ready to play early. So as a fan of somebody that's not Florida, I hope that doesn't happen, and I hope it does end up being Felipe Franks. But it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. Now let's we got to speed it up a little bit. We got to speed it up a little bit here. So we're going to get off Charleston Southern in the quarterback situation. But week 2, Kentucky, you get Kentucky at home. You got to assume you're going to. Last year was Kentucky's year to beat you. I mean, they outplayed you. They outgained you. They were a better team. They were better coached. They weren't better. It ended up they weren't better coached because they kept sending 10 men out on the field on defense instead of 11 and forgetting to cover one of Florida's wide receivers. But Kentucky outplayed you and should have won that game last year for the first time in 35 years at Kentucky. They didn't do it. You get them at home in the swamp week 2. Right now I'm looking at this, and I would probably have to mark this down as a Florida win. Now, of course, it's hard to judge Florida right now because you don't know what you're going to get with Mullen. But look, so after week 1, maybe we'll see. But as of right now, just looking at history and everything else, like I said, last year was Kentucky's year to beat you. They didn't do it. Hard to pick Kentucky to win here, in my opinion.
That was the second time that almost happened, because back in 2014 we played them in overtime, but we survived in that game. So another win for Florida against Kentucky. The streak's gonna continue on. Let's just cut to the chase about talking about Colorado State. Now, Colorado State, I don't consider them as a cupcake game. This is more like a very interesting game to play. Because even though head coach Mike Bobo, your former quarterback of the Georgia Bulldogs back in 1997, he's no stranger for the Gators. He played against the Gators in his year playing quarterback for Georgia. I doubt that he might got some few tricks up his sleeve, but I think Dan Mullen's going to out-trick him at the swamp. So that'll be a big win for Colorado. Big win for Florida. So
Yeah, I gotta give you the win there. I had high hopes for Mike Bobo when he took over out there at Colorado State. Of course, just kind of a weird situation. Mike Bobo replaced McElwain at Colorado State when. Sorry, there's too many people trying to call me at the same time. Yeah, I'm here. Sorry about that. It's too many people trying to call Uncle Lou at the same time here. I'm a very important person, and a lot of people's trying to get in touch with me. But yeah. So a weird situation with McElwain leaving Colorado State, Bobo going there. Now 1 year before Bobo gets a chance to play McElwain gone. Colorado State comes down to the swamp. I've been disappointed in what Bobo's done out there at Colorado State. Now they do like to sling the ball around. But I can't see Colorado State winning this one. I have you at 3-0.
Okay. Well, let's see. We're going to play at Rocky Top at Tennessee. So this is going to be a very interesting game because you got two first-year head coaches going at each other, battling for the SEC East. You got Jeremy Pruitt, the new head coach of Tennessee. He's coming from Alabama. Then you got Dan Mullen coming from Mississippi State, now head coach at Florida. So this is going to be a very brutal and ugly game. I think, if I may recall, you talked to a Tennessee fan about a few weeks ago, and you all said it's going to be a win for Tennessee. You might be right, but to me, as a Gator fan, it's going to be. I think it's going to be a win for Florida.
Yeah, I think Florida has the obvious coaching advantage here. Jeremy Pruitt, first-year head coach. There's going to be some bumps in the road for Pruitt. I mean, take it from me. I love Kirby Smart. I think he's an elite coach. I think it would be hard to argue that right now. He single-handedly cost Georgia at least 2 games his first year as a head coach in Athens. I could easily see something like that happening with Charlie Brown. I mean, not Charlie Brown, Jeremy Pruitt. But I look at this stretch of games here at Tennessee, at Mississippi State, home against LSU. If Florida wins 2 of those games, I will be impressed. Now, it's not necessarily a matter of me thinking any of those teams are better or worse than Florida, but that's not an easy 3-game stretch there, and your schedule is loaded with home games, but you've got 2 road games here back-to-back at Tennessee, at Mississippi State, then you come home and play LSU. Obviously, LSU, the best of those 3 teams, at least you get them at home, but you get them on the tail end of this two-week road stretch, and there's no off weeks here. This is the 22nd, the 29th, and then the 6th of October. So this is not only 3 games in a row, but literally 3 weeks in a row. I don't see any way possible. I just tell you right now, I see no way possible Florida wins all 3 of those games.
You might be right, but I'm looking at maybe 2 out of the 3 wins. I think the only loss I may probably think of will probably be either LSU or Mississippi State. One of those 2 games will probably be a loss for Florida. But when we head to Vanderbilt, that'll be putting our frustration after a loss either against LSU or either against Mississippi State. So, let's see what happened there. But Georgia, that would be a loss for Florida because even though Kirby Smart and the Georgia Bulldog, it's going to probably they're looking for a big frustration. They're looking for coming back to get hungry to get another shot for not only for the SEC title but also controlling the SEC East and also another shot for the college football playoffs. So that's going to be a loss for Florida in that cocktail party game.
Now, what about Missouri? This is a revenge game now. Now, Missouri, I mean, they hammered you. They hammered you last year.
Yeah, Missouri and South Carolina will be a big revenge for the Gators, and they're gonna beat them at the Swamp. So easy and done for after that big loss against Georgia. Idaho, it's gonna be a tune-up game before we face our in-state rival Florida State, and so I think we're just gonna overrate it at Idaho, and then once we're about to get ready to face Florida State up in Tallahassee for the Sunshine Showdown. Even though this is gonna be Willie Taggart's first year at Florida State, this is gonna be one big ugly game, and even though Florida hasn't beaten Florida State at Tallahassee since 2012, so I I got a feeling that this is going to be Florida's big time win against the Noles.
I wonder.
Florida State game.
I wonder when the last time was Florida and Florida State played, and both teams had new coaches.
That I was asking myself the same question like that too. I think I don't know. I've been looking it up to see who was the last time.
Yeah.
Both Florida and Florida State had the first year head coaches. You know.
That's a hard game to figure out for me, Florida and Florida State, because I mean, these are two teams here that had absolutely terrible years last year, but both of these teams, Florida and Florida State, are way more talented than the amount of games that they won.
You're right.
Last year, like, I mean, I love to rag on Florida, they're a rival or whatever. Talent-wise, Florida is not a 4-win team, and talent-wise, in fact, I would go even further. Florida State's more talented than a 6-win team, but I think Florida's more talented than Florida State. Florida State lost one player. Florida had a whole list of excuses a mile long. Some of them were even legitimate. The suspensions with the credit card charges, the coaching situation, inexperienced quarterbacks, these kinds of things. Florida State lost one starter week 1 and basically couldn't beat an average team after that. I mean, they just looked absolutely horrible. So this will be interesting to see what happens in that game, Florida at Florida State. Of course, with this being the last game of the year, we'll know way more about both of these teams than we know right now. It'll be a lot easier to try to get a feel on that game as the season goes along. It's really shooting in the dark with that game right now. But so I think South Carolina game, I think, and obviously I'm biased, I think the winner of Florida, after looking at this Florida schedule, I can see 9-3 here if things go well. I could see you losing 1 or 2 games in the first half of your schedule, maybe 1 or 2 games in the second half of your schedule. I think anything less than 8-4, even though Dan Mullins, it's his first year there, he's not a new head coach, so he knows what he's doing. So he shouldn't lose you any games like maybe a Pruitt will or a Kirby Smart did his first year in Athens, or Nick Saban did his 8th and 9th year coaching, which was his first and second year at Alabama when he still didn't know what the hell he was doing, and he was busy getting out-coached by teams like Louisiana Monroe and Utah. I don't see that happening to Dan Mullen. So anything less than 8 games, Florida should not be losing to Missouri, Vanderbilt, Kentucky. I'll put Tennessee in there. I think South Carolina is close to Florida. I still think Florida's even more talented than South Carolina, but I think South Carolina's going to have a pretty good team. I think that Florida-South Carolina game will determine second place in the East. Obviously, I'm biased being a UGA fan. I'm picking Georgia to win the East. You already know. But let's be real, though. Everyone else on planet Earth is going to be picking Georgia to win the East, too. I'm talking media and the polls and all that kind of stuff. Obviously, you got some idiot fans that are so hung up on hate either for Uncle Lou or Georgia or both that Georgia's not winning the East. Well, they're just mentally retarded. Anyone with any sense or willing to put money on it is going to pick Georgia to at least win the East. That doesn't mean they'll win it. There are no guarantees, but they're going to be the overwhelming favorite to win the East. But I'm on record. I think Florida and South Carolina are the next 2 most talented teams, and so I think that November 10th game could go a long way to determining how the East finishes up.
Well, yeah, that's how I feel. Dan Mullins' first year at Florida will be either a 10-2 or 9-3 wins. So, but anyways, hey, do you want to quickly talk about Al Pacino's upcoming movie, Paterno?
Real quick, you got 1 minute, and then I got to go. So tell us about this. Well, let me tell them, and then you fill in the details. There's a movie coming out about Penn State and Joe Paterno. I'm not sure how many of you guys knew this. I actually didn't know. But HBO is putting out a movie, comes out soon, about Joe Paterno, and Al Pacino, I guess, is playing Joe Paterno. So tell us what you know about this movie.
Okay, well, the movie's going to be on HBO, and it's going to premiere next week on Saturday, on April the 7th. Basically, this is going to be like a reenactment of the Jerry Sandusky sexual scandal cases. And what it is that there's something that whoever happens, like at Joe Paterno's house, like, when when he's been questioned by authorities about Jerry Sandusky, and they're watching over the news, and then you got like so many students from Penn State, covering about, doing the story about this awful an investigation.
Right.
So,
and who does Al Pacino plays Joe Paterno, or Al Pacino plays Jerry Sandusky?
Al Pacino is playing Joe Paterno, and let me tell you something here. Al Pacino, he looked exactly like Joe Paterno. I say 90% looking like.
Yeah.
But there's an actor goes by the name of Jim Johnson. He is going to be playing Jerry Sandusky, and Katie Baker, she will play Sue Paterno. I think that's the daughter of Joe Paterno. And Annie Perez, I can't even pronounce her name, but she's going to play Mary Kay Paterno. That's the widow and the wife of Joe Paterno. There's some other, there's so many actors. There's so many casts in this movie, but they're mostly like Penn State students and coach and all.
Yeah.
So
well, we'll check it out. You said it comes out. It comes out next week. So maybe I'll remind everybody next week, and hopefully we can watch it and talk about it next week. But I really gotta go. I got another guest getting ready to come on now. So I gotta run. But I really appreciate you being on, Damon. And I hope later in the summer, when it gets closer to the season started, we can have you back on to maybe nail down this quarterback situation a little bit more.
That is no problem, Uncle Lou, and thank you. Love you being your guest on the show, and you have a good Wednesday.
Thank you. Have a good morning, and good luck with Dan Mullen. He is a Florida man.
He's a Florida man, Lou!
Thanks again to Damon for coming on. We're gonna get to one more person here real quick. Hopefully, maybe, real quick. Let's see if this will work. Hopefully this will work. This will just be a few minutes. We're gonna just talk about a little bit of the Final Four, and I'm gonna give you my my predictions for that. So we'll see. Spencer.
Yes. Hi,
What's
Uncle
up?
Lou.
What's up, buddy?
How are you?
You're live on the air right now. Sorry about that for those watching. I did tell Spencer to go ahead and call me at 3:20. I thought the Florida interview would be wrapped up by then. Obviously, it wasn't. So, Spencer, I apologize. It ran a little over. So, but anyway, I'm glad I was able to get you on the line here.
Oh, no doubt. And it's not like I know you're a busy guy. It's not like I was dying. So everything's all good, Uncle Lou.
Okay, good.
Thanks for having me on.
Now let's talk some Final Four, and of course I want to have you on, maybe even for the whole show here in a week or two about NFL draft. But I'll get with you on that. Another time. We don't need to get into that here. But right. Spencer is an NFL expert. He's my go-to guy for NFL stuff, so we're going to have him on before the draft. Hopefully, I'll talk with him after that later. But we're talking Final Four today. And Spencer, I was talking Final Four on here for a few minutes on Monday's show, mainly talking about last weekend's games, and I wasn't ready to make my predictions yet. So before I let you get going here, because I don't want you to change my mind, because my mind is made up here. So my picks are as follows. Now I picked Duke to win it all. Okay, obviously they got eliminated by Kansas, so there goes that. So you got the other Loyola, not the one that people know, but the other one with the one with the old lady in the wheelchair. You got that one against Michigan, right? That's one game.
Right. You
know what? Give me Loyola. Isn't it fun to root for the underdog when you don't really care who wins? Give me Loyola. I'm gonna take Loyola in that one, and Villanova and Kansas. I think the winner of that game wins it all. But you know what? Screw Kansas. They messed up my only decent bracket when they eliminated Duke. So give me Villanova. Villanova beats the other Loyola, the old lady wheelchair one, in the championship. That's the Uncle Lou official prediction. Tell me why I'm wrong.
So I think that I also like Loyola against Michigan because the matchup is great for Loyola. Like, Michigan doesn't have freaky athletes. I mean, I know that they have that Wagner, the German kid that could shoot. They have a couple of other guards, but the game is going to be really similar. Now, John Beeline's a really good coach at preparing his guys to play Loyola, and the game's only a 5.5-point spread. You know, the same as Tennessee and Loyola. So the spread isn't that, you know, bad for Loyola. And this is a team that, you know, can pass the basketball, they can get open shots, and actually Florida State would have been a game for Loyola, which almost would have been impossible because Florida State just has all these athletes, and Loyola wouldn't have been able to, like, operate their set. So, you know, I wanted to call in today, and I think Loyola actually has a chance with this whole thing. You know, Villanova's going to be dangerous shooting the ball, and I agree with you, Uncle Lou, that I believe that Duke was the better team than Kansas, like Bagley and Carter. You know, I just think Duke was more talented. They just had defensive lapses, you know, in that game.
Yeah.
Duke did. I think Duke was the best team out here. I really do. I think Duke would have beaten Nova as well.
Yeah, I mean, it went to overtime. It was a good game. I'm not a college basketball expert, but I did think Duke was one of the best teams in the tournament talent-wise. I mean, it's hard to argue Kentucky, too. I mean, Kentucky's probably got 3 or 4 NBA players on their team. Their problem is just inexperience, and that tends to be a problem for Kentucky a lot because of the one-and-done situation. But with me not being an expert on college basketball, let me just ask you one brief question about this Loyola-Michigan game. Now, the Big Ten, of course, has made a couple of college football playoffs. This now is basketball, which I know is totally different. But will Michigan – I know you picked Loyola to win. Will Michigan score?
In the game?
Yes.
Like a couple of baskets?
Even one. Will they?
I mean, Sister Jean is going to be out there playing D.
Okay, I'm asking for a friend because the Big Ten hasn't scored a single point in the college football playoff in 3 years. Twice they got shut out in the playoffs, 31-0, and another $111 million. So 2 years in a row they got completely shut out, and then last year, as punishment, they weren't even allowed into the college football playoff. But you're willing to go on record right now here live on the Uncle Lou Show and guarantee me that the Big Ten will score in the Final Four.
You know what? I think the Big Ten is going to score a point. I think that they're going to score a point.
You heard it here first, folks. Spencer is the college basketball guru, and if he tells you the Big Ten is going to score a point, I'm willing to put $1 on that myself.
You know what? I'm going on a limb, and the good news is I don't think that Connor Cook and JT Barrett are going to be out there. And let me just say,
stop trolling me!
Urban Meyer, is he going to be drinking some beer? Like, is he going to be able to sleep before this game?
If Michigan doesn't score, will Urban Meyer have a fake heart attack? Yes or no?
Exactly. Can we get some pizza and golf carts for Big Herb?
All right. So your pick is Loyola to beat Michigan, and who did you pick on the other side?
You know what, man, I also wanted to say, like, you know, I really missed out on we really needed that Big Ten in those college football playoffs, you know. They just – it wasn't the same, right? It wasn't the same.
Actually, it felt pretty much the same. Them not having a team there pretty much resulted the same as the last 2 years when they did have a team there. They scored as many points in the playoffs this year as they did in the last 2 years combined, which is 0 + 0 = 0.
Exactly.
So,
and it's interesting, Uncle Lou. I want to give you I want to give you a stat here that'll pretty much. I want to give you a stat that I found really interesting. Hopefully, you do as well. And that's that the Missouri Valley Conference in basketball, you know, Wichita State and Loyola now from the small mid-major conference, they have more teams in the Final Four in the last 5 years than the Conference of Champions, the Pac-12.
The Conference of Champions, Pac-12. How many softball titles Pac-12 got? 100, and then they got 102 total titles. UCLA used to win some basketball titles. Let's be real. Nobody in the Pac-12 is winning anything anymore. The SEC even dominates softball. Poor Pac-12. Now they got all their eggs in the Washington basket just so they can get humiliated by the barn week 1 in college football this year. But we're getting off topic. But anyway, Spencer, let me go. The trolls are going absolutely nuts in the comment section. Here's a live look into the comment section right now. Let's take a look. Type. Look at them go. But Spencer, thank you so much for calling in today.
Wait,
Spencer,
I just have one more question before I leave, and of course you're giving me some high praise with the expert comment. I'm really gonna have to study, and I'm not pretending to be an expert with the draft, but that's gonna be just incredible. That's gonna be so much fun, and I want to ask you one question before I hang up, and that's this is kind of a statement. I'm not really tired of Sister Jean. I kind of love how everybody's getting so pissed about her and how much attention she's getting. Like, I don't think that she's taking away attention from the players. I still think the players are getting covered, and I just love how everybody's getting all pissed about Sister Jean. I think it's kind of hilarious. I kind of enjoy even Sister Jean just aggravating everybody. Let's just throw her on TV 24 hours a day. I think it's just hilarious, and I just love the whole Loyola story.
Yeah, well, one of the best things about all these huge sporting events, whether it's the Super Bowl, the college football playoff, the NCAA tournament, is the side stories, right? The non-sports related stories that you always have a bunch of them in the Super Bowl because there's a 2-week run up to the Super Bowl, and so there's all these side stories all the time. And this is no different, and it is an interesting story. I mean, Loyola, the only 16 seed to beat a 1. You've got the old lady in the wheelchair. No one has ever heard of this team before. Although they did win a national title 50 years ago. Who knew? Who knew? I didn't know. Did you?
I mean,
they won a title like in the 60s.
I heard that.
They won the NCAA tournament like in the 50s or 60s. Who knew? I didn't know. So yeah, Loyola won it all. Hell, now they got it's their second Final Four, so 2 more Final Fours for Loyola than Tennessee Vols have in their entire history. Just unbelievable.
Hey, but that has to equate to a life champion. If Loyola wins, it's a life championship. I mean, because Tennessee, they came the closest to beating Loyola.
Or maybe if they lose, it's a life championship.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you got, like, Tennessee probably has like a Final Four. I think there's an aggregate on there.
Spencer, I'm gonna let you go. I'll get in touch with you sometime the next couple of days, and we'll nail something down for the draft.
No doubt, man. Love the show. Thanks so much. Keep it rolling, Lou, and take care, man.
All right, thanks, Spencer. Yeah, that was Spencer. But now you guys are in luck here. You know what time?
More phone calls?
Ring, ring, ring. Call Uncle Lou. Argue with me. Berate me. Tell me why I'm wrong. Tell me how stupid and pointless my videos are. Tell me that I'm the worst college football prognosticator that you've ever seen. Just because I picked your team to lose once and by some miracle they won. Whatever you want to do. Call me up. Let me have it. The floor is yours. 706-510-6817. And don't troll me.
Stop trolling me!
Yeah. So phone lines are open. Give me a call. I dare you even. No, I don't dare you. That's just ridiculous. It's just ridiculous and pointless also. And two, in addition to that, Type. Good morning. You're on with Uncle Lou.
What's up, Uncle Lou? I'm using the hotline number, bro.
Well, what's up, buddy? Now, don't forget, and this is not just for you. This is for everyone else listening. New rule. Now, obviously, I know who you are because
I'm the ultimate
thing
troll.
came up. This is the ultimate troll. If you call in, state your name. So this is the ultimate troll. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
What seems to be the problem today, sir?
Well, Uncle Lou, I seem to have a problem today. The problem is, I've got the big J for you.
Okay, and how do you suggest that we handle that?
Well, Uncle Lou, I think you need to acknowledge that you have the big J for me too, and I can feel satisfied.
Well, unfortunately, I'm not able to acknowledge that at this juncture, as I always tell the truth, even when I lie.
Okay, Uncle Lou. Okay, I want to talk about another thing, Uncle Lou.
Okay.
I want to talk about you.
Let's talk about Uncle Lou.
Yeah, hang on. The bus is, hang on.
Stop trolling me!
Okay. Would you like to talk to Uncle Lou? Would you like to talk to Uncle Lou? Nobody wants to talk to Uncle Lou?
Hey, listen, this is a very important show that's on time constraints. So remember, you're supposed to have all this stuff ready to go before you call in, sir. We have been through this. We've been through this ad nauseum.
Stop trolling me!
Sorry, shut up. I'm talking. Shut up.
Let's go.
Shut up. I'm talking. Now, Uncle Lou. Now, did you have a lot of friends when you were a child?
Did I have a lot of who?
Friends.
Oh, sure, yeah.
I wonder. I just don't know what makes it. How old are you? Like 50? A 50-year-old man. So it's like only like 8,000 subscribers. Not many people. I mean, what? How does your wife even allow this to happen? If you have a wife.
What do you mean allow it? You plan on having some sort of civil union with your boyfriend one day and only doing what he allows you to do?
Well, I mean, Uncle Lou, how does your wife, don't you have like a family or something? How are you a 50-year-old man running a talk show? I mean, you're not even that, you're entertaining enough, but not as entertaining as like the Paul Feinbaum.
So I'm not quite as entertaining as Paul Feinbaum. That's what you're telling me. Well, I can't believe that.
No, Uncle Lou, you're 50 years old. You live in your grandma's basement.
Garage.
You said garage. All right, my bad. Your grandma's garage, and you run a little talk show that not many people listen to. So it's kind of weird. How are you making a living? That's a good question. Yeah.
I'm making a living right now.
You're making a living right now?
Yes.
How are you making? Nobody donates you money on YouTube.
I do. Some people do, but you don't need donations to make money on YouTube, sir.
So what is your income then? What's your source of income?
You think
I'm not your only source of income?
You think I'm gonna tell you that?
Yeah, I do, Uncle Lou. And I actually want to know what I read online.
Yeah.
I read that your name is Curtis T. Bascom. You were like a plumber or something, but then had to quit your job, and your parents just let you back in the house.
I've seen that on the on that Georgia Tech page.
No, is it true?
No.
So your name's not Curtis?
No. And there's plenty of people that will tell you that my name is not Curtis. People type my real name in the comment section all the time. It's not Curtis.
Is it Lou?
No, but I have seen that. It's on a Georgia Tech forum on the internet, GT Swarm or something like that. And there's this big long drawn out story, and it's not a plumbing company; it's the water company. My name is Curtis T. Bascom. I work for the water company in like Alpharetta, Georgia or something like that. Of course, I don't live in Alpharetta and I never have. But yeah, there's this whole long Uncle Lou biography typed out on some Georgia Tech trash talk page on the internet somewhere. And that's what you're referring to.
Oh, okay, Uncle Lou. And a few more things before I let you go and let the other trolls. Who's the best troll on your channel? Obviously, it's me, right?
Well, you have been the best troll at times, but today you fell flat on your face.
I'm not doing my best today?
No, I don't know if you didn't get a good night's sleep, or if your mom didn't hug you at the bus stop this morning, or I don't know, but something's off with you today.
Well, Uncle Lou, I've had a long day. I'm in high school, and I'm on the bus right now on the way home. You have, like, a bunch of people around you listening to you, too.
Let me make sure I understood you correctly. You said you're in high school and you still ride the cheese?
Yeah.
Have a great day. Who rides the cheese in high school, man? Come on. Who rides the cheese in high school? The ultimate troll is a cheese rider. I just find that I just find that hard to believe.
Stop trolling me!
Uh-oh. What is it? I can't see the name on that because it's in Hoghead. Thank you, Hoghead. You're good people. Phone lines open 706-510-6817. Call Uncle Lou, be live on the show, and Uncle troll me like the Ultimate Troll tried to do. Very disappointed in the Ultimate Troll today. He normally has something funny to offer, and today he was just a complete mess. So hopefully he can fix that. Good morning. You're on with Uncle Lou.
What's up, Lewis? The Mark Fox guy. I introduced myself this time. What's up?
What's up, Coach Fox? What can we do for you today? I'm here. Go ahead. Hold on a second. Hold on. You there?
Yeah, dude, I'm here.
What's
What's up, man?
up? You tell me.
All right, guess what?
What?
So you said I'm going to be a mod if I don't say what I say at the end of the calls, right?
Today it's test day. We'll see how you do.
Test
I have faith
All
in
right,
you though.
I'll try my best. But anyway, what was I going to talk about?
I have no clue, sir. There would be no way for me to know.
Hold on, Lou. Let me think for a second. Let me think.
Never made it as a wise man.
All right, Lou.
Do I need to start playing the Jeopardy theme here and count you? Dun, 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 dun,
No, Lou.
dun.
No.
Let's go. Let's go.
All right, Lou.
All right, I'm ready.
Lou, are you a part of the Illuminati?
No, but it is real.
Just curious. It is real. I was just wondering.
Of course it's real. The
You're not a
Bilderbergs
part
are
of it,
real.
are
The
you sure?
Illuminati. I mean, but while you're over here playing checkers, the real power brokers are playing three-dimensional Afghanistani and backgammon, which is the Masons. The Masons, sir. Look into it.
I know. I hope you're not a part of the Illuminati, Lou. So
No.
you're not. I mean,
No.
are you sure?
No Illuminati,
Okay,
no
Lou.
Bilderbergers, no New World Order. I'm not a Mason, although all that stuff is real, and those are the people that are really pulling
Okay.
the
Are you a
strings.
conspiracy theorist?
I don't consider myself a conspiracy theorist, but there are a few quote-unquote conspiracies that I think could potentially be true.
Yeah, David Hogg, crisis actor right there.
No, I don't believe that.
I do. That dude is a crisis actor.
And all the other kids at that school who say he goes to that school, how do you justify that?
I don't know, Lou. I'm just trying to make up stuff to talk about because I don't know what the hell to talk about, okay? I'm really trying to think here. So you still don't want Mark Fox? You still don't?
I still don't. Nope. I haven't changed my mind. Nothing has happened since Mark Fox has fired to make me change my mind.
Lou.
Mark Fox is still fired, and that's still a good decision for Georgia. Okay, go ahead and see if you can. Okay, go ahead and just end the call now before you do something you regret. And
I'm not going to do anything I regret, Lou. What am I going to say?
You will. Well, I don't know.
I'm good, Lou.
I don't know, but
Lou, I'm not going to do anything wrong. I promise.
All right,
I'll be good.
I don't believe you. You have to prove it to me. Go.
Okay, Lou. I hope you have a spectacular day or morning. Because if I don't say morning, I offend you. So morning. And I hope your dinner is good tonight.
Okay, all right, come on. I really appreciate the call, sir.
And I'm not gay. I will never say that again. Go Dogs.
You were so
and support
close.
Mark Fox.
You were so close. He was so close. He wanted to be a mod, and all he had to do was call up and not use the word gay, because he just does it all the time, and it's pointless and ridiculous. And I told him all he had to do was call in and not use the word gay, and he could be a moderator, and he just couldn't help himself. So, but never fear, sir. Today's Wednesday. You know what that means. There will be a Monday next week, and you can always try again, although I'm probably, it looks like I'm going to have to add some extra rules to you, sir. Not only are you going to have to call up and not say gay when you end the call, you're also going to have have something to say when you do call. So try to work on that. Good morning. You're on with Uncle Lou.
Morning, Uncle Lou.
Hey, good morning.
How you doing today?
Oh, I'm doing great. How are you?
Doing fantastic. Hey, I want to talk a little Georgia football today. Is that all right?
Yeah, I need your name, height, and weight.
My name is Herschel Bean. I'm 5'10" and a half, and I'm 225.
Okay, go ahead.
Did you hear about Georgia's new cornerback? Actually, I think he's a safety, Devon Wilson, tearing his ACL in spring practice the other day.
Yeah, that was bad news. I wasn't expecting him to play a whole lot this year, but the coaches said he was looking really good. And that's sort of a position that's kind of up in the air right now. I mean, we have DeAndre Baker on one side. He's a lockdown corner. He might be the best in the SEC. But the other one is kind of up in the air a little. So that was bad news. You never like to see anybody get hurt. But, yeah, so definitely a redshirt season for him.
Well, no, actually what I heard was he was actually going to take Aaron Davis' position because he was the only defensive back that we have that in that they call it the star position, which is like a walk-up safety, somebody that can come down and stop the run. Yeah. And apparently he was the only guy that we had coming in that was like within that size that they wanted, and now he's hurt. So actually, Kirby Smart's not trying to make a big deal about it, but apparently it's a bigger deal than everybody thinks. That's just what I've heard, like some stuff on Dog Nation. And
you may be onto something there, because I was reading an article either this morning or last night, and it was about the star position and how Kirby has been putting like 5, 6, 7 different guys in that position trying to get it figured out. I mean, he's been putting inside linebackers there, outside linebackers, safeties. I mean, 6, 7 different guys that were named in that article as basically getting open tryouts at the star position. So you may be onto something there with your theory about Wilson possibly being slated to start there. I mean, we have Gibbs and LeCount, but they're more true safety type players, not necessarily a star. I think LeCount could probably play he's definitely physical enough to play the star, but it looks like he's going to get one of the safety positions.
Well, I also heard that another theory that I heard of, which might be kind of out there, that when Tyson Campbell comes in, who is the guy from American Heritage, he was a 5-star cornerback that came from Sonny Michel's high school. When he comes in, they're saying that he's going to be good enough to start at a corner and bump over not DeAndre Baker, but
Tyreek McGee.
Whoever's going to play Tyreek McGee. He's going to bump over Tyreek McGee, and Tyreek McGee is going to play that safety slot. And they're thinking that LeCount might have to come down and play that star position because he's the biggest one.
That is a possibility. And of course, Tyson Campbell is the highest rated cornerback that Georgia has signed in 10 years. Since I think 2010 or 2011, so a long time. But you never know how they're going to look, until they get out there and do it. And him not early enrolling is sort of putting him behind the 8 ball there. And it's always been my theory that there's 3 positions that you never want to play a freshman at if you can help it: quarterback, left tackle, and cornerback. I just think those are the 3 hardest positions to transfer from high school to college. Now, with that being said, Tyson Campbell is obviously going to be one of, if not the most talented pure defensive back on Georgia's roster the minute he steps on campus. So it's just going to be a matter of him picking everything up, and if he does that in time and he's able to play, then that's great. But it would be hard for me to rely on that right now. I would hope that someone else could step up in the spring and sort of solidify that spot. And then if Tyson comes in the fall and gives whoever that starter is a run for their money, great. But always dangerous to rely on a freshman who's not even on campus yet as one of your starting 11.
Right, and there's a possibility there could be a couple freshmen making impacts here and there. The other position I saw that there's been a huge battle is it looks like Cade Mays is probably going to get some playing time.
I don't know. They said he's been doing pretty good. Him and Isaiah Wilson have been going at it for the right tackle position, but I also heard that it's possible that Isaiah Wilson will get that right tackle position, and Cade Mays will actually knock out Kendall Baker for the left guard position, and you will have Andrew Thomas and Cade Mays on the left side, and then Ben Cleveland and Isaiah Wilson on the right side, and Lamont in the middle. And that would be an absolute massive offensive line. I think Kendall did struggle a little bit last year.
Yeah.
I think he struggled especially in the championship game. But I mean, it was Alabama.
Right.
It might have been only them who could exploit that. But still, Kirby's going to look for the best possible players to start, and it looks like if he's the weakest link on the line, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, nothing against him.
No, I completely agree. And again, it's going to come down to listen, with the way we've recruited the last 2 years in particular, there are people riding the bench, second string people, that without question are more talented than the people ahead of them on the depth chart. It's an experience, it's a play calling, it's a learning what to do and when to do it type thing. And the offensive line and the defensive backfield are two perfect examples of that at the University of Georgia. Our offensive line was horrendous when Kirby was hired. I mean, awful, to the point where we had to start something called Tyler Catalina at left tackle, who had no business being anywhere on an SEC field. We had freshmen at the time that were more talented than him, but it's just hard to make that decision to put him in. But you're going to see these guys start to come to the forefront now over the next couple of years. Our offensive lines are going to go from one of the smallest, worst in the SEC to one of the biggest and one of the best in the SEC. Same with our defensive backfield. No more 5'10 safeties, no more 5'10 cornerbacks that can barely cover, no more Malcolm Parishes. These people are gone. I mean, even if you look at last year's DBs, you didn't even mention, Breeny, Speed, William Poole. I mean, these are prototypical defensive backs that are waiting.
Yeah, right. Oh man, that national championship game, I'm not gonna pick out any one player, but our DBs lost us that game, man. I know it sucks. You can't blame it on one player or one unit, but it's my opinion that
the DBs,
lost us that game. It shouldn't even went to overtime.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. It's definitely two defensive backs' fault that Alabama scored their last touchdown. But I can't look at a one-score game and blame it on one. I mean, Tua's second possession. Okay, Tua's first possession. He comes out, we hold him, 3 and out, they punt. Tua's second possession in the third quarter. Alabama comes out, first down, nothing. Second down, nothing. Third down, we had 19 people had an opportunity to tackle Tua for a loss, including Roquan Smith. Tua gets away, runs for 20 yards on the first down. Alabama goes down and scores. Is it Roquan Smith's fault we lost? No. I mean, you can point to a lot of plays. So I don't blame the loss on them, but that touchdown was definitely their fault. There's no other way to look at it.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I know there's a lot of people that want to get on here. I'm going to give you one more. I'm going to give you a little story real quick about the national championship game, and then I'll get off you.
All
right. So I actually live on the border of Georgia, Tennessee. I live right south of Chattanooga. So I deal with Baltards all the time, and I hate Tennessee fans. And Tennessee used to be my most hated team by far. Okay. Well, recently, it's not even that fun hating on Tennessee anymore. So Auburn has really come on strong with me being the most hated team for me. So, but what sent that over the top was I was in Athens for the national championship game. I tried to go to the game. I ended up couldn't get tickets. They were like a couple grand a piece. So my brother and my girlfriend both go to Georgia. So I went to Athens to watch the game, and we had like a kind of like a party or whatever at his apartment. So we're sitting there watching the game. I'm not going to say who it was, but there was an Auburn student in with us watching this game. And he or she was wearing Georgia colors and everything, but they went to Auburn. Everybody was cheering for Georgia. She got so mad. He or she got so mad that we were yelling and everything, for Georgia. She stands up.
Type.
Saying, roll tide, in front of all these Georgia a college student, and she's an Auburn fan, and that pissed me off. I mean, I could not. I was so mad because I feel like I don't know what all these Barners are. Every Auburn fan I've talked to was cheering for Alabama in the national championship game over Georgia, and I thought Alabama was supposed to be their most hated team, and I just don't understand it. It really makes me mad, but.
Well, I can tell you, I know exactly what you're talking about, and I've experienced those same things from Barners on social media, Facebook, Twitter, and places like that, and I can tell you exactly what it is. Barner has 100% completely and totally given up on being better than Alabama as long as Nick Saban is there. They have completely given up on it, and they would just as soon Alabama wins every national championship from now till Nick Saban retires, as long as that means Georgia doesn't win one, because they don't want – see, the only thing Barner has to hold over the head of Georgia is a 2010 national championship. That's it. We dominate them head-to-head. We've beat them, 6 out of the last 8 games or whatever it is. We beat them in the SEC championship game. We owned them. We own them mind, body, soul. Gus Malzahn is a terrible coach. They pay this guy $7 million a year. He's 2-7 in the last 9 games against Georgia and Alabama combined. He's got 1 bowl win, Gus Malzahn. 1 bowl win, Birmingham Bowl. So they know they're not any good. They know they're not going anywhere. They know. So what it is they don't want Georgia to get anything to have that up on them. They're already so far behind Alabama they gave up a long time ago. So they just soon Alabama win again. But it is the most pathetic and sad thing I've ever seen in my entire life to see a group of Barners cheering on the Gumps. I mean, a Barner nut riding a Gump is the saddest thing on planet Earth.
Well, what made me really mad was the only reason that the Auburn fans were there was for the party, and they came for the party. I knew if Georgia won, the Athens would be absolutely insane, and it was going to be way better than any kind of party that would ever be thrown in freaking Auburn, because that's the worst city on the face of the planet. And that's the only reason they came. And then they were like in the middle of it, in front of all these Georgia fans, started in the national championship game, started cheering for Alabama, and just to piss people off. And it was, I was super upset. But yeah. I'm gonna let you go, Lou. Have a great day. Go Dogs.
All right, thanks for the call. I appreciate it. Yeah, Terry in the comment section, he must be a Barner. I don't know. But he's steady in the comment section with the type. He's saying Georgia's the worst fan base in America. That's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard, sir. I could rattle off a list of teams, fan bases, way worse than the University of Georgia. But, hey, I'll do what I do, and you do what you do, which is... Type. Lou Jr., what's up, buddy? You want to say hello to these people? I'm going to tell these people good morning, man. Good morning. Lou Jr. tell you good morning there. Show's wrapping up, man. You want to answer this call?
Sure.
Just say good morning, Lou Jr. here, okay?
Good morning, Lou Jr. here.
Wait. Is this Lou Jr.?
Yep.
Wait. Oh.
You're live with Uncle Lou. Good morning. This is Uncle Lou and Lou Jr. here. Good morning. State your name, state your name, and let me see what else. What else do they need to state besides his name? Just your name will be fine. Lou Jr. said.
Okay. Well, just like to point out, you're talking to the Squidtard.
Squidtard. Good morning. Hey, listen, let me ask you something before you get going on this phone call here. Hey, if I start owning you on this phone call, you going to rage hang up?
Maybe I will.
You might. I don't know. You might. Anyway, what's going on, buddy?
Nothing much to talk about. A couple of things. I was going to say something about you, but you probably don't want to hear about that. My question I have is, do you think that the East, the SEC East, will do better than the West this year overall? Not just including like Alabama and like Georgia and stuff, but like overall, do you think the East could do better than the West?
No. I think Georgia can compete with anybody in the West. So if you want to sort of line it up, let's just say Georgia and Alabama. I'm not saying Georgia's better or worse than Alabama. Those are just clearly the two best teams in each division. So let's start there. Then let's go to Auburn in the West. Who in the East, after Georgia, matches up, could beat Auburn, do you think?
Well, I mean, I think South Carolina has a pretty good chance.
I would probably agree.
Bad, but
I would probably
like
agree.
average,
So that gives us like a 2-2 thing. Now, third in the West, I would go with LSU there. Would you?
Okay, yeah.
All right. So now, who you gonna match up in the East with LSU?
Well, it'd be between like Missouri, Florida, and Tennessee. I'm saying Florida and Tennessee because obviously new coaches, new recruits, stuff like that. And Missouri because of Drew Lock, they have a really good quarterback. I mean, they still have a turd defense, but.
All right, let's go with Florida there because Florida has beaten LSU recently. I mean, they play every year, so let's go with Florida there. That gives us 3 even matches there. Fourth in the West, who you going with there?
Well, I'd probably have to say Missouri.
No, in the West.
Oh, in the West. Oh.
Yeah. Mississippi State,
so
Texas
said,
A&M.
Alabama, Auburn, probably Mississippi State.
All right. So do you think? So Mississippi State versus Mizzou, who wins? I think Mizzou.
Okay. Definitely Mississippi State because their offense would just dismantle their defense.
Yeah. Now, you think their offense is going to be as good this year without Dan Mullen? I don't know if you've talked to any Florida fans lately, but Dan Mullen is the greatest offensive mind in the history of college football, according to Florida fan. So how is it that Mississippi State could possibly have a good offense this year without Dan Mullen? The only reason Mississippi State ever won a single game over the last 9 years was because of Dan Mullen. That was it. Have you not talked to any Florida fans, sir?
Never made it as a wise man.
I don't think it was just Dan Mullen that influenced that.
Of course it wasn't just Dan Mullen. Nick Fitzgerald is a good quarterback. Nick Fitzgerald better than any quarterback Florida got, ain't it?
Yeah.
So you know what? You've almost changed my mind here. I think the East might be pretty even with the West. I would say maybe that depends on how Mississippi State ends up doing. If Mississippi State ends up having a good year, maybe the West is a little bit better than the East. If Mizzou ends up being better than we think, maybe the East is better than the West. Who knows?
Yeah, you never know.
The gap is closer now, I think, than maybe years past, though. So.
Oh, yeah.
He's a Florida man, Lou!
Obviously, most of those really good teams like LSU, who was really good a couple of years ago, they're average now. The only really good team I know now in the West is Alabama, and obviously competing with that in the East is Georgia.
Yeah, you can forget about LSU as long as Orgeron is hanging around at LSU. Then there's no need to even think about LSU when it comes to winning the SEC or making a college football playoff. That's not happening.
Oh yeah.
In fact, I should have recorded it, but I actually called Ed Orgeron this morning and was just asking him some things about LSU. And do you know what he told me?
What's that?
Ed Orgeron told me, and I quote, and I said, man, you gotta be kidding me. I said, you gotta be kidding me. He said, no. And I said, wow, okay. So he thinks they're going 10-2.
We're gonna play some good football down there in LSU. Down Baton Rouge, we're gonna play some good football. Yeah, I'm actually an LSU fan myself. I don't like them as much as Tennessee, but I mean, I'm kind of a fan of them because my.
Stop trolling me!
Yeah, so you're
yeah,
sort of a corn dog then. So.
But I do agree with you that LSU practically has no chance of winning the West next year.
No, all they'll do is type in every single comment section on earth that they put a bunch of players in the NFL again. That's it.
Oh yeah, definitely. I'll go to the Browns or something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Anyway.
No, I mean if they could beat Auburn again, and maybe they'll have a chance of beating Bama because they played Bama close for like the past 2 years.
Yeah, LSU is weird. I mean, they get
sorta.
absolutely destroyed by Mississippi State last year by like 30 points. Then they fall down 21 points to Auburn. How does LSU come back from 21 points down to beat anybody? They have no offense. They have no quarterback. I make fun of Florida's quarterback situation. Hell, LSU's quarterback situation makes Florida's quarterback situation look good. That's how bad LSU's quarterback situation is. That Edling guy is just terrible.
Oh yeah. Yeah, he is. He's pretty bad. I mean, he helped them beat Auburn, but that's really all they have.
Yeah.
Type. Some of their talent that they had last year, so they'll probably do worse this year. But I still think LSU Georgia is going to be a good game.
Oh, I do too. Listen,
in the first quarter.
Look, I've been saying that to anybody that will listen. Do I think we're a better, more talented team than LSU? Absolutely. Do I think we're going to go out to LSU and just destroy them? No. It's going to be a tough game. It's not easy to win out there. It's not easy to win out there. It's not easy to win out there even for West teams who play out there every other year. Georgia plays out there once every 14 years. So it's not going to be easy to just go out there and win that game. It's not.
Then how do they explain Troy?
Well, that's the thing. You have those anomalies that happen like that. They lose to Troy, they get blown out by Mississippi State, then they turn around and come back from 21 points down to beat the barn. I mean, just weird. I don't know. I mean, you can't deny LSU's got some talent on that team. I mean, you can't deny it. But the thing is, I'm just not a believer at all in Ed Orgeron as a head coach. I don't think he's going to lead them to a single SEC West title, much less an SEC championship or a playoff berth or anything like that. I just think he's in over his head out there. I almost feel like Orgeron is just a placeholder. The whole way the Les Miles things went down was just weird. They halfway fired him and halfway hired Jimbo Fisher. Then Jimbo Fisher changed his mind, so they told Les Miles they changed their mind, and then Les Miles came back the next year, and then he sucked, and then they fired him halfway through the season and made Orgeron interim coach, and Orgeron won a couple of games. LSU wanted Tom Herman. Tom Herman goes to Texas, so then LSU pretends like they really just wanted Ed Orgeron the whole time. It's just been kind of weird what's gone on with LSU at the head coaching position over the last couple of years. I almost feel like they're kind of stuck with Orgeron for a couple of years.
Back in December, I remember when Tennessee had that dumpster fire, they didn't hire Pruitt yet. Yeah. I heard rumors that Les Miles would be going to Knoxville, and I was like, no, I'd rather not. Not until they... Yeah, just no.
Yeah, I mean, everybody and their brother turned down that Tennessee job. I don't know if Tennessee even contacted Les Miles or not, though. My guess would be that they didn't, or we probably would have heard more about it. I don't even know if Les Miles would have taken that job or not. I don't know. No other coach in America wanted it. That's for sure. That's why Tennessee got stuck with Jeremy Pruitt.
Hey, it was a good hire, though. I mean, it was one of the best that they could have gotten compared to somebody like Greg Schiano or whoever that guy's name is.
We'll see how it works out. I mean, Georgia's last two head coaches had never been a head coach before, Mark Richt and now Kirby Smart. And we didn't win a national title, but let's be real. We hired Mark Richt in 2001. Prior to that, we weren't winning SEC titles. I mean, so Mark Richt improved Georgia's program. So, we we got lucky with a coach with no experience, and obviously you bring Kirby Smart in. That's worked out. I know the trolls say, well, you still hadn't won anything. Well, he won the East. He won the SEC. He won a playoff game. I mean, how many teams in America have ever won a playoff game? 5? So, you know, don't give me the he hasn't won anything speech. I mean, I get it that we all troll each other because we hate each other's teams or whatever, but you just sound like a retard when you say Georgia ain't won nothing since 1980. Georgia ain't won nothing since 1980. Woo. Yeah, right.
If you're being serious about Georgia didn't win anything good this year.
Right.
You're
Yeah, they had a great year.
I think it's some season probably your best year since like the 80s.
Oh yeah, it was our best year since 1982 at least, for sure. Yeah, no doubt, no question about it. Yeah, great year. But anyway, look here, Squid Tart, I gotta go. I'm already like 20 minutes late, and my boss hates it when he has to pay me overtime. So I gotta get off of here. But hey, I'm glad you called in, man. It was nice. It was good to hear from you.
Yeah.
Vanderbilt. All right. I'll talk to you later, buddy. Yeah. All right. We're gonna go ahead and end it. No, we went way over today, but I felt like I owed you guys some extra time since we had 2 guests on in the beginning. I didn't want to cut the phone calls too short today. So thanks to everybody that watched live. Thanks to everybody that's watching this on the replay on YouTube later. Thank you. Thanks to everybody in the comment section. The trolls and the football fans both. Thank you both. I appreciate it. Before we go, let's get one more live look into the comment section. 3, 2, 1. Type. Wow, look at them. They can entertain themselves for hours doing that without a problem. Pop quiz at the end of the show. First one in the comment section. Who can answer this question? What is Dan Mullen? What is he? Someone tell me. Someone in the comment section right now. What is Dan Mullen? What is Dan Mullen? What is Dan Mullen? Waiting for answers. Who can tell me? What is Dan Mullen? Waiting. What is Dan Mullen? Dogs fan 1196. He's a Florida man, Lou. He's a Florida man, woo. He's a Florida man, woo. I started work today on part 2 of that video. Who's trashier, Florida's football team or Florida's fans? I started work on part 2 of that today. That'll be uploaded tomorrow. Though it takes a while for me to do those because I have to get Natty Back Steve sober enough to actually film him, which takes a long time. But anyway.
Never made it as a wise man.
Anyway, thanks to y'all for watching. Thanks for commenting. Thanks for trolling. Thanks for talking football. Thanks again to Damon, Florida fan, for calling in at the beginning of the show and walking us through some information on Florida Gators 2018 season. Thanks to Spencer for calling in with the Final Four. Thanks to all the callers today. Thank you. We will do this show again next Monday live at 3 o'clock Eastern. We also have another live show we do Tuesdays and Thursday nights at 10 Eastern. It's totally different from this one. So if you haven't seen it, make sure you check that out. Subscribe to Uncle Lou if you're not already. I don't know what the hell could possibly be wrong with you that you're not subscribed to Uncle Lou. I mean, that's just completely ridiculous. So do that now. Remedy that situation. Watch Uncle Lou every day like you're supposed to. It'll make you smarter and lower your cholesterol, which will get you off that Lipitor that's killing you from the inside out. So do yourself a favor. Subscribe to Uncle Lou. Hit the bell notification icon. You'll get a note on your phone every time Uncle Lou goes live or posts a pointless video. Make sure you watch it. Yeah, you have to. Anyway, I'm going to go. Thanks again. I can't wait to talk to y'all again. Have a good day and an even better morning if you can. And I'm pretty sure you can, too.